Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I'm your yarn host Jennifer. Today, first of all, happy Monday. Today we're talking about what I'm working on mostly. I do have one finished object to show you, but if you are in the Facebook group or the Instagram, you already saw this. But that is okay. I am working on a wide variety of crafts. I will soon be working on sewing projects as well because I got an idea for that. Yeah, so let's get started. First of all, we're going to talk about what I have finished. I finished this hat. This is again the herringbone hat. This is the pattern from Red Heart. However, I changed the pattern because the pattern calls for worsted weight yarn, and as I showed you in the other video, where let me refresh. Let me refresh. Rewind. This is the original. No, that's not the original. This is the first one I made. The pattern was on Facebook, posted by Red Heart Yarns. And I came in here and I was like, I need to make this hat. I particularly love this pattern right here. It is the herringbone. The reason it's called herringbone, it's not a herringbone stitch per se, but the herringbone stands for like almost a chevron type design. I remember back when I grew up, like herringbone necklaces were like the thing, and it was just gold chains that looked like this. They were like, everybody had to have one. That was back when gold was a little bit cheaper, and I don't know, it seemed like everybody could afford gold back then. I don't know. Keep in mind, I lived in the ghetto. So, like, to have poor people walking around with herringbone necklaces on that were actually gold, like, gold clearly was more affordable then than it is now, because I want a gold necklace. I've been asking for one from Mr. Cinnamon for years, and they're too much money for the size that would fit my neck, actual solid gold. But yeah, so anyway, wow, that was way off topic. This is made with Stitch Please yarn from Premier in the worsted weight. And Stitch Please comes in 2 variety, but 4 kind. What? No. 4 variety? It comes in, what? Maybe I'm wrong. It comes in, you can tell it's Monday, right? It comes in the ball form. Yeah, 4 variety. I think you got that right. It comes in the ball form for the Stitch Please, and it comes in worsted and bulky. And it comes in the hank form, which is just 100% wool. It's not super wash wool, so it felts, and it could be used for that, and it's also cheaper. And that comes in worsted and bulky, I believe. I haven't purchased it or looked at it since it came out. So I bought some when it first came out, and it's been on my shelf. I haven't used it because very, very woolly feeling. This is not a soft wool. It feels wool. I prefer soft mix wool blends. So this is a good, solid, sturdy wool. But it's also a little bit itchy, which is why it's back further on my forehead, because it does itch my forehead. So with that being said, all that, this is worsted weight. This is worsted weight of the Stitch Please. This is the bulky weight of the Stitch Please. And because it's bulky weight, I had to go back to the pattern and redesign it a little bit, because obviously you're using bigger needles, and I actually did take notes so that I could remember. The only thing I changed on this hat pattern with the cast on is the pattern was a cast on of, let's see, the original pattern right here says it is a cast on of 72, hang on, with 4.5 millimeter hooks. That can't be right. Oh, okay. I know what I did. Let me show you the pattern. This is a free pattern, so I'm not really giving anything away. Okay, see right here, it says cast on 72, 80, or 88. These are the different sizes of the hats. So the 72 gives you a child size hat, I believe. And then the 88 is what I did for the original hat here because I have a large head. So I cast on 88 for this because I have a big head. And I make all my hats bigger. And the reason I do it is I don't use all the hats that I make. I really don't. I donate a lot or I give them away. But I make the bigger size because I've been gifted with hats that have been too small way too many times. My kids even. We all have large heads. So I always make the hats bigger for us out there that have bigger heads so that there's bigger hats out there in the world circulating. So that's why I do that. So what I did with the bulky pattern is instead of really finagling the pattern too much, I used the child size with, I think 10mm needles is what I used. So I just followed the pattern as if it was the child size. I didn't change anything about this. I just changed the cast on to 72 with my bigger needles. And then I took this pattern. See, the original pattern stops it at a point and there's just plain knitting on the top. And I didn't like that. I wanted it to be the chevron all the way to the crown. Which I succeeded. I just kept, instead of stopping the chevron pattern at one point, I just continued on with it. So I just basically did this part of the hat all the way up while adding in decreases. And the decreases are not perfect, but who the heck is going to look at the top of your head, especially me? Like, I'm 5'9", I'm tall. Nobody's going to see the top of my head unless they're really, really tall. But it's not horrible. It's not horrible. It's just not perfect. And I love this hat. I think it's beautiful, especially when I wear it back a little bit to where it's not actually touching my skin. And it's going to be super warm for the winter time. For whoever gets this hat or whatever I do with this hat. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I love this purple color. I think it's so pretty. And that yarn is amazing to work with. The Stitch Please, it's amazing to work with. It doesn't bother my hands a lot, even though it's not soft. It is very scratchy woolly. But it didn't bother my hands. It didn't give me like any of the issues that I normally have with that. But I took notes on what I did with the hat. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 repeats of rows 1 through 4. Well, kind of 1 through 4 because after a point you stop doing the ribbing. I know I'm probably confusing half of you. And then I did a couple rows of the decrease, and that worked out just absolutely perfect. Alright, now let me go back to my notes. So I made the purple hat. That is my one and only finished object because I have told you I am working on blankets. I hesitate showing you guys this over and over again because you're going to get sick looking at this dang blanket. But I am trying to... I wanted to get this blanket done by the time I see my sister, which is going to be the beginning of December. We're celebrating our Christgiving in December and not actually having the Thanksgiving portion of the meal because we're going to be away while we visit. I'm trying to get her baby blanket done before then, but then I just realized that I can't do everything. And I'm trying to organize my time in a way that I'm getting things progressing while not stressing out, because if I stress out, I'm going to burn out. And we've seen what happens when I burn out. So this is the progress of the baby blanket. The last time you saw it, it was way down there. I have the 4 stripe colors in, and now I'm working on the solid color. This is Premier Butterfly yarn. This yarn is so soft and delicious to work with. And the fabric, when it's worked up, is so squishy. Now, I have only worked this up in knit, but it is just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I really am loving the way this is turning out. So, my goal was to work either 5 rows or 1 inch a day, which I have been succeeding for the past couple days. And I wanted to make this part at least as big as this part. So, if you fold it over at that color line, I have succeeded in that, and I'm actually like a row or 2 past that. So I'm reaching my goals. I love how stretchy this is. Stretchy, stretchy. I always look back on stuff like this with Juju when she was a baby. I really wish I had taken up photography earlier so that I could have been her photographer when she was a baby, because we went to like Olin Mills and like, you know, Walmart studios and Target studios to get her photographs taken. And I wished that I had taken up photography earlier, because I started photography when I was like 8 years old. I got my first camera, and it was a little Kodak S10. It was yellow. I still remember that camera. It took the little cartridge film, and my mom really encouraged, because I loved taking pictures of people and things, and I just had a lot of fun with that. And she would give me like $4 or $5 every week or two to get my film developed at the local pharmacy. And then as I learned crochet, I wish I had learned crochet when my mother was still alive, so she could see that I actually learned it and I'm doing things that she never dreamed of doing with her crochet, but also when my babies were little. And now that I'm knitting, I'm like, God, I wish I had a knit blanket for when they were babies. Like, that would have been so cool. This is an amazing blanket. And so I always have those, you know, those little regrets or I wish I had type thoughts. But that's my progress on the knit blanket. I'm very happy that I am about this far into the cake. I've used up a lot of the cake. I could weigh this and tell you, I think it's just under half. I've used just under half of that, and I have one more entire ball of that to go. And if I don't get it finished by December, I will have it finished by the time she is born in the end of January. So I'm making progress, and I'm proud of my progress. I have a really hard time working in all one color, especially bigger projects. I hate working in all one color. It bores me to tears, but at the same time, like that's not for me. And I have to be in a mind space that is positive when I'm working on that blanket, because I believe in energy, and I believe that energy is powerful and energy can attach to things. And I only want positive, loving energy into that baby blanket for whatever reason. Like, I want her to just be wrapped in my love and my happiness. So I have to be in the mood like that to knit that blanket. And also I have Christmas gifts. Like, I'm staggering things, so I'll work a little bit on that. And then I have I have Pumpkin Spice's blanket started. This has a little ways to go. I'm having a hard time. I feel like it looks more like a rug right now because I'm double stranding it. Let me back up so I can show you. It has quite a ways to go. I want it to be a lot bigger than this, but it looks like a rug right now. And even Mr. Cinnamon's like, I keep asking him, does this still look like a rug? And he's like, yeah, thanks. But I'm double stranding it so it's extra thick. It's going pretty fast. I love the way the colors are working out. I did gold, purple, 1 row of gold, purple, 2 rows of gold. I'm going to go back to the purple. The purple is like disappearing way quicker than I want it to, though. So I don't know how big this is going to be, but she wants it for the back of her chair at college. And this, she just has a little small twin size bed in her dorm. So I think this is going to be more than enough for just a lap blanket or decoration or whatever she uses it for. But I am holding 2 strands together of the Hirschner's Jumbo. Okay, so see if that's, oh, it's upside down. Worsted Jumbo. This was like $7 for these big giant skeins. They're about maybe a little under. I've used a little under half of these already, but like it seems to be going fast. So I just put these together in the project bag. I pull my strand and I hold 2 together as I crochet so that it's it works up faster. And I'm using a 7mm hook because some people did ask that. I started off using an 8mm, a 10mm hook, and it just was too, the stitches were too separate, and I didn't like that, so I moved to a 7mm hook, and I barely used any of the gold. But this gold had a huge just yarn barf in the middle. This much came out of the ball. It was like the whole center of the ball came out. and I had to untangle it and ball it up, so I was not real happy about that. I mean, that's a lot of yarn barf. But yeah, I'm just using my 7mm Furls hook. I'm holding the contents in a box so that all of these things stay together at all times. But I'm making progress. That I don't have to finish this until Christmas. So I have a whole almost other month that I have to even worry about that. And I'm not stressing about that at all. So that is what I have been working on besides redecorating in here and cleaning up a little bit. What do you think, by the way? What do you think? Christmas? It's just a little touch for my background. Honestly, I did that for myself. I wanted, and Stitch is not going to stay here. Stitch needs to be moved upstairs to my room. I want to put like a Santa or a reindeer or something right here where I had the skull for Halloween. Because I have a lot of knickknacks for Christmas. I really like Christmas. I like decorating for Christmas. And so, yeah. I got some new sparklies. I did go to Joann's. I will talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, what do you guys think about the Christmas? There's going to be more Christmas added to this because I have some Hirschner's. I ordered some more of that. The Soho Noel from Hirschner's because it's really pretty. And then I found this in Stash. This is Merry Maximum, and that is the actual name of it, is Merry Maximum Sparkle. And it's got Christmas on the label, which is absolutely beautiful. But if you want to know what any of those yarns are, you can go ahead and check out the Christmas yarns. I think I'm hooked video because I showed those as I was redecorating the shelves. But I was really proud of myself because I have tubs up there, plastic tubs. Now I have 9-foot ceilings up here, so that's 8 feet above my head. That's 7 feet. Okay, so I actually got those down over my head by myself, which I don't climb on ladders. I don't do it. I'm scared of heights. So I pulled them down by myself, and then I went to go put them back up by myself because I was pulling some of the Christmas yarns out, and at the same time I needed to restock some of the other yarns that were on the shelf in the buckets, and I went to go put them up by myself, and I got the buckets on top of my head, and they are not light. I'm going to say they're 25 pounds. And I got them on top of my head, and I had to yell for Juju because she was the only one home. I was like, Juju, come spot me, come spot me. And I don't think she knew what that meant because she's like, what? I was like, just come here. And so she comes running in, and I was like, can you just hold the bucket? Because I had the front of the bucket and the back of the bucket was on my head. And I knew I could not balance because they were stacked on top of each other because I can't reach high enough. If I get one bucket up there, I can't reach high enough to put another bucket on top of it. So they were stacked on top of each other on my head. And I was like, can you just hold the back of the buckets level and push up with me so that I can get them on top of the shelf? And so together we worked and got it up, and I slid it back. And it was really, really hairy for a minute there because behind me was my open laptop, and if one of those buckets had slid off and fell backwards, my laptop would have been toast. Like, it would have destroyed it. So stupid move number 1 for Jen, but at least I had someone here to help me, and I didn't do it when nobody else was home because that would have been a disaster. It would have been bad. I didn't have the strength to get it up any higher by myself. But yeah, so love this pattern. I am definitely going to be making more of those. I think I want to make a Christmas one of this design in acrylic, but I also want to make a cowl, and I told you guys I want to make a cowl with this chevron pattern on it. And a matching hat in like all one color. And I want to do that in acrylic because the wool, I can't really wear the wool. And I definitely can't wear wool around my neck. So, yeah. I guess that's it for today. Like I said, I didn't have a lot to show you. Tomorrow I'm going to talk to you. It's going to be story time again. But I'm going to tell you about the little adventure Mr. Cinnamon and I had going out to Joann's. And my experience with that. And I have a couple of mail orders coming in hopefully today, so during the week I will be showing you some new yarns from Premier, and hopefully my Hirschner's order comes today as well. And I'm going to do a swatch with that because you guys seem to really be liking the videos where I show you the yarns but then I work them up as well, and I talk while I'm working them up. Those are coming up, they're doing really well, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. So since you guys like that, I think when the Hirschner's Noel yarn comes in, I'm going to work up a swatch and give you guys, because yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful in the ball. It's soft in the ball, but it's a little bit furry. I mean, it's not furry, but it's a little bit fuzzy. And that can affect whether I'm going to love it or hate it. And that can affect whether you're going to love it or hate it. So I figured I'd work it up and just make sure that we all know that we like it before anyone orders it and spends their money and then ends up hating it, because I don't want to be responsible for that. So, all right. I hope you guys have a fantastic Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Monday evening, whenever you are joining me. Thank you, as always, for just spending this time with me. It means everything to me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.